In 1944, the British Secret Service tried to develop a chemical that would affect the blood of a human being. A copy of this lab report can be found somewhere deep within the old 515 building in London. This chemical was derived with mixtures of name redacted and name redacted, as well as myperiphramidine. The chemical will modify the blood's chemical properties and structure, so that if shot or cut, the blood would have the ability to freeze or solidify to where the person was shot. This would stop the bleeding and can make a person far stronger than any average human being. However, a chemical like this would be incredibly expensive and only offered to the most valuable of people, such as M15 units and important politicians. Other things that have happened in order for the blood to solidify includes increasing the amount of blood plasma from 55% to 59%. Modified blood cells with oxygenated constitution percentage of 96%, therefore the subject has breathed deeper and more often. Since the bronchites seem to get into the way of modifying blood cells, they are removed prior to modification. The module obligated is also modified by the chemical that familiarizes it with the modifying blood cells. Also, since the blood cells expand or solidified, 4% to 6% of the normal people blood value must be removed. Blood vessels, of course, are changed to the slight bit of the chemical, as well as in order to handle the heavier cells. Test subjects could be any male over 21. Subjects are compensated with 35,000 pounds. The subject will be provided with hospital beds and some entertainment. The subject must remain on EKG and his heart monitor must be watched at all times. Once the chemical is introduced into the subject, we must monitor it for 24 hours. No food must be given until the 25th hour. All requests may be subjected for the first 24 hours must be ignored. Beginning with the 25th hour, the subject may be given painkillers and proper meals. Patient must continue to be monitored until the 72nd hour. After 72 hours, the subject must be escorted to the test room. The subject is to be bound and sedated. The left arm is to be cut open 4 inches and the right arm will be shot by a .45 automatic. Observe the effects. After hour 144, the subject is to be taken to the testing room again, and the subject is to be shot in the multiple places without sedation. Each place and effect is to be observed and recorded. The 3 subjects were males, 23, 22, and 29, and these subjects swore to secrecy as well. The chemical was successfully administered to all 3 subjects. Within the first hour, all 3 of them started screaming in agony. Surprisingly, they stopped by hour 3. Subjects 1 and 3 requested a copy of the King James Bible after 6 hours, but it was denied. The following researchers decided to meant that they believed they would die. Subjects 1 and 3 were granted a copy of King James Bible after hour 25. Painkillers were administered to all 3 subjects. After 72 hours, the subjects were taken to the testing rooms, and they all seemed to be delighted to leave the room after sedation. Each subject had his left arm cut open with a scalpel and his right arm shot by a .45 automatic. When the scalpel penetrated subject 1's skin, it reacted with a dark, amorphous solid substance filled with the cut almost as fast as the skin was opened up. It sealed so fast that the scalpel was stuck in its arm, and the subject caused by the .44 automatic bullet was sealed by a dark amorphous blood within 3 seconds. The results were the same for subject 2 and 3. After 84 hours, all 3 subjects started to act unusual. Instead of using the entertainment around them, they sat in their beds and groaned, as if they were sad or ashamed. Subjects failed to even make eye contact. After 110 hours, subject 1 passed out. Blood tests could not be run because the blood was solid and amorphic. The only thing that was determined was that the pH of the blood, which was at 5, was far more acidic than usual. A researcher was sent in after 127 hours to take the blood test of the 3 subjects. Subjects have become increasingly silent. All 3 subjects have shown signs of aggression. The doctor found the pH value is to be 4.3, 4.6, and 4.4 from subjects 1, 2, and 3, respectively. pH value were decreasing. The blood test was taken at 140 hours, and the pH value hasn't changed. The experiment will continue as planned. At 144 hours, subjects were escorted to the testing room. All 3 subjects looked far different from the beginning. The skin had turned to a shade of gray, and their skin looked noticeably thicker. Their eye colors have changed to pure black, and they were bloodshot. The experiment will continue as planned, but the chemicals must be remodeled before repeating the experiment. Before opening a fire on subjects 1, 2, and 3, they showed inhuman strength. They immediately pounced on their attackers and used their teeth as the most effective weapon. 6 armed men lost consciousness after their attackers touched their teeth and their skin. 1 arm was devoured by the subject. When M15 entered to neutralize the room, the subjects were reported to be missing. The chemical must have had a negative effect on the medulla oblongata, causing aggression. The chemical also affected their salivary glands. Superhuman movements were caused by an enhanced blood cells within the muscle. The subject's lust for human flesh is unknown. Location of subject 1, 2, and 3 are currently unknown. Research for this project will be discontinued. Evidence included laboratory report will be classified as SIS top secret.